Operation Midnight Hammer by the B-2 Spirit is a masterclass in the art of war. The U.S. sent two groups of B-2 Spirit in opposite directions. One is a decoy that flew toward U.S. outposts in the Indian Ocean, while the main strike package appeared to head east toward Iran. All of this to strike the heavily fortified Fordo nuclear enrichment bunker. This facility is buried deep beneath a thick layer of rock, with its main chamber located approximately 200 meters from the tunnel entrance. The surrounding terrain begins with a gentle slope but becomes steep about 160 meters from the ridge, offering strong natural protection from aerial attacks. Just before the B-2s reached their target, a U.S. nuclear submarine launched a dozen cruise missiles aimed at various nuclear sites in Isfahan. Here's the catch. Reports say hundreds of trucks moved uranium centrifuges away from the nuclear enrichment plant just days before the bunker buster bomb strikes. We'll also look at the B-2 Spirit secret stealth technology, more details all in the video ahead. The U.S. B-2 Spirit bombers strike on Iran's nuclear facilities, codenamed Operation Midnight Hammer. In the early hours of June 21, 2025, a large formation of B-2 bombers lifted off from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri under tight secrecy. What followed was a complex play of deception and the art of war. Immediately after takeoff, the strike package split into two separate groups. One group, serving as a decoy, flew westward over the Pacific, heading toward well-known U.S. outposts like Anderson Air Force Base in Guam or possibly Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. Meanwhile, the main attack group, consisting of 7 B-2 bombers armed with massive ordnance penetrator MOP bunker-busting bombs, flew eastward toward Iran. This move was designed to confuse the global flight trackers, news outlets, and even Iranian intelligence, drawing attention away from the real strike. Their mission: to strike Iran's most fortified nuclear sites at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. The main force embarked on a grueling 18-hour mission, part of a nearly 37-hour round-trip journey spanning thousands of miles. To keep them airborne, the operation relied on a series of precisely timed mid-air refueling by KC-135 stratotankers. These refueling missions, conducted in international airspace, were critical to the success of the operation. Just a small comparison, this aircraft fuel reserve can fill up 2,000 SUV truck. All this considering it can carry 20,000 gallons or 75,000 liters of fuel. Moving further back, there is another section of the fuel tank. These fuel tanks were specifically designed to penetrate deep into Russian territory, about 6,900 miles, which is around 11,000 kilometers. Furthermore, it can travel double that distance deep into enemy lines while avoiding radar detection, thanks to this rotary air refueling system that extends all the way out, as shown here. This maximizes its range to 12,000 miles with the Boeing KC-135 stratotanker and allows it to remain airborne for 44 hours. That is almost 2 days in the air, which is a remarkable engineering feat. The bombers cross into the Middle East via routes over Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq, though it remains unclear whether these nations have been notified. As the B-2s approached Iranian airspace, the mission entered its most critical phase. U.S. forces unleashed a range of electronic warfare tactics and decoys. Fast-moving aircraft and jamming systems were deployed ahead of the bombers, designed to confuse and blind Iranian radar and missile defenses. At the same time, U.S. fighter jets and surveillance aircraft conducted sweeps to detect any potential threats, whether from the air or from surface-to-air missile batteries. Thanks to their stealth capabilities and carefully coordinated flight profiles, the B-2s went unnoticed. This is the Fordo nuclear facility, one of the most heavily fortified and deeply buried sites in Iran's nuclear program. But what exactly makes it so difficult to destroy? Fordo is protected by a complex network of defenses, including 6 tunnel entrances leading into its underground uranium enrichment facility. The most critical parts of the site, specifically the enrichment infrastructure, are buried deep inside a tunnel approximately 200 meters long, carved directly into the side of a mountain. The main enrichment chamber is believed to sit directly beneath the mountain ridgeline, hidden under a massive layer of rock. From the tunnel entrance to the chamber, the distance spans roughly 200 meters. The terrain itself adds another layer of defense. It starts off with a gentle slope near the tunnel entrances, but becomes significantly steeper about 160 meters from the ridge, providing natural protection from overhead strikes. And here's where it becomes even more challenging. If the enrichment chamber sits at the same elevation as the tunnel entrances, It's shielded by approximately 40 meters of solid rock when approached from narrow vertical angles, around 25 degrees. A bomb dropped directly from above or even at a 40-degree off-axis angle, as would be typical for a high-altitude strike from a subsonic B-2 bomber, would need to break through up to 40 meters of dense mountain rock to reach its target. To overcome this, the U.S. deployed 6 B-2 Spirit bombers, each armed with GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, deep-penetrating bunker buster bombs designed for hardened targets like Fordo. These strikes targeted the mountain ridge directly above the tunnel network and underground enrichment halls, aiming to penetrate the fortified layers and disrupt Iran's nuclear operations. The B-2s also targeted at least 6 of the known tunnel entrances leading into the facility. Post-strike satellite imagery, along with assessments from weapons experts, confirmed that at least 3 of the 4 main entrances sustained significant damage. Large craters were visible near these access points, indicating a direct hit and probable disruption to the facility's internal infrastructure. Roughly an hour before the B-2s crossed into Iranian airspace, a U.S. Navy submarine launched over 30 cruise missiles targeting the Isfahan nuclear site. A simultaneous attack from sea and air created chaos and stretched Iranian defenses thin, adding another layer of confusion to an already overwhelming assault. At around 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:10 a.m. in Iran, the lead B-2 bomber released 2 massive ordnance penetrators over the Fordo nuclear facility. Over the next 25 minutes, 14 MOP bombs were dropped across Fordo and Natanz, tearing into the reinforced underground complexes. Almost simultaneously, the cruise missiles struck Isfahan with devastating precision. With their mission complete, the B-2s turned back and exited Iranian airspace just as silently as they had arrived. Let's look at how the B-2 Spirit avoid radar. Unlike normal planes that use rudders and elevators to steer, the B-2 has no vertical stabilizers. This is because any vertical structure would reflect radar waves, which is why they had to design it without vertical stabilizer or rudder at the rear. Instead, they use this technique of split drag rudders to provide directional stability and control in a flying wing aircraft. But there is a catch. As opposed to conventional rudders, the control efficiency of split drag rudders is typically low for small deflection angles. That is why the B-2 Spirit turns very slowly compared to other military planes. Each split rudder consists of 2 separate panels that swing out vertically in opposite directions. When the left split rudder opens, it produces drag and causes the B-2 Spirit to yaw to the left in the direction of the open split rudder. The same effect occurs with the opposing right side split rudder. This is what happens inside the cockpit. When the pilot pushes the left rudder pedal, the left split rudder opens, causing the aircraft to yaw to the left. Similarly, when the pilot pushes the right rudder pedal, the right split rudder opens, causing the aircraft to yaw to the right. The B-2 Spirit composite can be divided into several parts. Here, we find that all the edges are made of fiberglass epoxy to reflect radar, while the largest part of the wing is primarily made of graphite epoxy. Interestingly, the crew station assembly is made up of aluminum. At the base, since these areas have to withstand a lot of heat from the engine, they are made of titanium, a super strong, expensive material. Finally, we have fiberglass polyamide, a stealthy material able to withstand heat. This is what it looks like with all the labeling and segments assigned to it to give you a better picture. Let's take a look at the $1 billion radar paint technology, which is still classified, but here's what we know from aviation experts. It involves the use of radar-absorbing material, also called RAM. RAM is a polymer-based material applied to the surface of stealth military aircraft, like the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II. Moving to the belly of the beast and opening the bomb bay door is this weapon adapter suspension, which makes this bomber formidable. While the B-2 Spirit might look small, it can fit around 80 numbers of Mark 82 bombs weighing 500 pounds. Yes, all these 80 weapons can fit inside this weapon adapter, totaling around 40,000 pounds, which is approximately 18,000 kilograms of free-fall gravity weapon system. Depending on the mission, the B-2 Spirit can switch to this rotary weapon system, enabling it to carry around 16 numbers of AGM-158 missiles, which can cost around $1.5 million each. When ready, a B-2 Spirit can drop this weapon payload discreetly. The AGM missiles unfold their wings to fly towards the target, traveling up to 230 miles, which is around 370 kilometers. Let's take a look at how this works. Step 1. The bomb deployment platform. As previously mentioned, a B-2 stealth bomber flies at a very high altitude. When the aircraft reaches the designated location and the conditions are optimal, it can release this specialized MOAB weapon system. The bomb is designed for precision, and the deployment height plays a crucial role in its trajectory and effectiveness. Then step 2 comes the targeting precision. The bomb is outfitted with advanced guidance technology, including GPS and inertial navigation systems, which are military-grade satellites. Then comes step 3, that is adjusting the trajectory. The guidance information and data is then transmitted to the bomb's 4 lattice motors fins located at the rear. These fins can move and adjust in real time, allowing the bomb to correct its course as it descends under the force of gravity. These adjustments are essential because the weapon does not have thrusters to change its trajectory. Instead, it relies on the movement of these fins and a high-altitude drop to control its flight path. This is why the bomb must be deployed from a very high altitude so it has enough time and distance to adjust its trajectory accurately. Here comes the most difficult part, that is step 4, impact and penetration. The bomb, known as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, weighs approximately 30,000 pounds, which is around 14,000 kilograms. There are different bunker buster bombs of different caliber, but what sets it apart from the rest is this GBU-57, which is typically delivered by the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. Due to the bomb's large size and weight, the aircraft can carry only 2 of these weapons in its bomb bay compartments. While it lacks thrusters, the weapon is equipped with 4 active lattice fins and a precision guidance system that enables it to glide accurately to its target using military-grade GPS. Constructed from a specially designed high-performance steel alloy, using its weight when falling under gravity to penetrate or dig itself up to 200 feet of underground soil or concrete. We'll also look into the difference between the Massive Ordnance Penetrator and the mother of all bombs with step-by-step process of how they work, all in the video ahead. To give you an idea of the varying levels of penetration capability among different bunker buster bombs, let's compare a few examples. First, we have the BLU-109, also pronounced Blue. It is a 2,000-pound bomb developed in the 1970s. This weapon is capable of penetrating approximately 1.8 meters or about 5 feet of reinforced concrete. Next, we move on to the GBU-28, which is equipped with a laser-guided system at its front. This bomb can penetrate to a depth of nearly 6 meters, equivalent to roughly 20 feet, which is as tall as a 2-story building. However, neither of these compares to the massive capabilities of the GBU-57, also known as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator. It can penetrate over 60 meters into the ground, around 200 feet. To put that in perspective, this depth is comparable to the height of a 20-story building, depending on the floor heights. These examples demonstrate the significant advancements and differences in penetration levels among these specialized weapons. Let's put an average human here against this weapon, which is 20.5 feet long, giving it a streamlined aerodynamic shape that is crucial for stability and precision. With a diameter of 31.5 inches and weighing an incredible 30,000 pounds, translating to approximately 14,000 kilograms, it utilizes its massive weight to generate the kinetic energy required for deep penetration. This heavy, compact design enables it to break through over 200 feet of reinforced concrete, making it one of the most effective bunker-busting munitions in the world. Let's take a look at the parts of this weapon. The most important part is the body casing, made of hardened ferrocobalt alloy to withstand impact. Interestingly, the body comprises more than 80% of the bomb's total weight. Inside this cover, you will find the following components. At the front is the nose fuse well, all of which are joined by a fuse conduit. Sandwiched within this rod is the explosive-filled 5,000-pound warhead, which translates to approximately 2,267 kilograms. This conduit then connects to a tail fuse, which, interestingly, is the main detonator and is crucial for delayed action. Moving to the back, nestled inside the tail, we discover the intricacies of its guidance system. Here, the inertial guidance kit collaborates seamlessly with the military-grade global positioning unit, ensuring precise navigation towards its intended target. Alongside these components, one can find the adapter ring, which facilitates the attachment of the telemetry antenna, crucial for transmitting data, as well as the encryption key battery, which safeguards sensitive information. Venturing deeper into its structure, we encounter the thermal batteries, vital for powering the system, and the composite fins, strategically positioned to aid in directing the missile towards its objective. These fins, meticulously controlled by internal gears, maneuver with precision, responding to commands to adjust the trajectory accurately. Let's take a look at the smaller bunker buster and how it works. It has a laser sensor at the front, and just behind that are adjustable fins. In the midsection, there is a warhead that weighs approximately 650 pounds containing tritonal explosive. This is a mixture of 80% TNT and 20% aluminum powder. Finally, we have the retractable fins at the rear. To give you a better sense of its size, comparing it to a person can be helpful. The casing has a length of approximately 19 feet long, which translates to around 5 meters. This section is made of an artillery barrel, which is very strong, and has a diameter of 14.5 inches, which translates to around 37 centimeters, making it relatively narrow. They intentionally made the smaller cross-sectional area. This means the bomb displaces less material, whether earth or concrete, as it penetrates layers of reinforced bunkers or building. The smaller cross-section allows it to enter deep into buildings, potentially avoiding steel and concrete. Let's move back to the MOP and its cost factor. The development cost of the GBU-57 is estimated to be between $400 and $500 million, with its production price per unit around $3.5 million. Meanwhile, the GBU-28, a 4,000-pound bomb, costs approximately $100,000 to $150,000 per unit, while the per-unit cost of the BLU-109 is approximately $25,000 to $84,000 for each JDAM kit. Let's take a look at how this works. Step 1. The bomb deployment platform. As previously mentioned, a B-2 stealth bomber flies at a very high altitude. When the aircraft reaches the designated location and the conditions are optimal, it releases the weapon. The bomb is designed for precision, and the deployment height plays a crucial role in its trajectory and effectiveness. Then step 2 comes the targeting precision. The bomb is outfitted with advanced guidance technology, including GPS and inertial navigation systems, which are military-grade satellites. Then comes step 3, that is adjusting the trajectory. The guidance information and data is then transmitted to the bomb's 4-lattice motors fins located at the rear. These fins can move and adjust in real time, allowing the bomb to correct its course as it descends under the force of gravity. These adjustments are essential because the weapon does not have thrusters to change its trajectory. Instead, it relies on the movement of these fins and a high-altitude drop to control its flight path. This is why the bomb must be deployed from a very high altitude, so it has enough time and distance to adjust its trajectory accurately. Here comes the most difficult part, that is step 4, impact and penetration. The bomb, known as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, weighs approximately 30,000 pounds, which is around 14,000 kilograms. When it reaches its target, it strikes with immense force, designed to penetrate deep into hardened structures, such as bunkers. The energy upon impact allows the bomb to bury itself over 200 feet into reinforced concrete, ensuring it delivers its payload precisely where it is intended for maximum effect. Finally, step 5 involves the tricky part of arming the weapon. It was installed with 2 SDB fuses. Double fuses are required as a backup. The first is for G-sensing and the second is the time delay fuse. Why the redesign was necessary, it was to ensure that the bomb could strike facilities buried beneath significant layers of hardened material. For this reason, the fuses are placed at the rear of the bomb to prevent them from being damaged. Once the time delay or the G-sensing fuse reaches its destination, it can blow, creating a mini earthquake that can bury bunkers and 20-story buildings inside them. Many people often confuse the Massive Ordnance Penetrator MOP with the mother of all bombs, MOAB, which stands for Massive Ordnance Air Blast. The mother of all bombs weighs approximately 21,600 pounds and is designed to detonate above the ground, creating a massive shockwave and blast radius. However, unlike the MOP, it does not have penetration capabilities. This OP is capable of digging up to 200 feet underground before exploding. While the massive ordnance penetrator can be deployed from bombers such as the B-2 Spirit aircraft. But this is not the case with the mother of all bombs is so large that it must be delivered via a C-130 aircraft using a pallet system. Once deployed, the bomb is dragged by a parachute and falls under gravity, guided by an inertial navigation system and military-grade GPS. On April 13, the U.S. dropped one of its largest non-nuclear bombs on a tunnel complex in eastern Afghanistan. When it detonated, the blast sucked all the oxygen out of the caves.